Thank you so much for coming in today. And of course, we need to let Senator go because we do understand President William Ruto is currently chairing a National Steering Committee meeting. The talks is focusing on the grassroots election. And that is where we want to go and couple it with what will happen to the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, which is the IBC that is yet to be fully constituted. We're talking about the issues of by-elections. There are various court orders that have been issued that IBC needs to implement, yet they do not have commissioners in place. Not forgetting, we also have the panel that was selected by President William Ruto to look for those commissioners. They are yet to shortlist and interview the commissioners who will be leading the commission into this particular exercise. But a very critical issue that also will be touching on is the boundaries delimitation, which ought to have done by the end of this particular month. Couple it with April. That is the issue that many of these constituencies are fearing, that they will lose pieces of their lands or pieces of their constituencies if the boundaries delimitation ought not to be done at the correct moment. As I told you also, the Orange Democratic Movement leader, that is Raila Odinga, is also today expected to chair a party's central committee meeting to deal with the uncertainty of the grassroots election. Remember, both UDA and the ODM have been carrying out grassroots sensitization ahead of this particular day. UDA, we do understand from this particular meeting, if things ought to remain, if the status quo remains, they had slated 12th, 19th and 26th of April 2024 to carry out their grassroots election. ODM is set to announce theirs, but it is this month where they will be carrying out their grassroots election. Now, first of all, before we even go to the grassroots election, I want to go to Oscar. Oscar, we are talking about the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, IBC. This is the month for those grassroots elections for both of these parties. They normally seek services of IBC because issues of mistrust and transparency. With IBC not yet fully constituted, where do these parties go?
Okay, one thing I think these elections, there have been elections that have been happening that have been assisted by IBC all along. LSK did the elections last month, and it was done by IBC. I think the secretariat, even without the commission. I think IBC main mandate is to conduct national election for electing the president, MCAs, and all this. When they conduct elections to help other entities like LSK or ODM and all these parties, they are only assisting. It is not their full mandate. So these ones, I think, can be done by the secretariat, the same way the LSK elections were done by the secretariat. I'm not very sure if that is the position, but the fact that they did for LSK last time, and anybody who is invited, for example, if KBC SACCO wants to do their elections at KBC, then they can invite the IBC, and even schools, when schools are electing presidents in schools or colleges, they invite the IBC to assist because that is the electoral body, but it is not their mandate. So it is something that they can still do. Otherwise, I don't really think, because I know these political parties, they wouldn't want IBC to be in their elections. One, because IBC is seen as the national election body. These elections are done by members of the public, members of the party. The fear in political parties is when their elections are infiltrated by one, mostly the state. Yes, when NSIS, they imagine, and all this, and other parties, for example, when UDA when UDA members participate in ODM elections, or ODM members participate in UDA elections, you know very well that the parties are not as well structured. We've not developed strong parties of ideologies. For example, if you, in America, I don't think if a Republican will go to participate in Democrats' NDC, because they don't even believe in that ideology, and people are disciplined. But here, politicians have various ways of winning those elections, because everybody, the problem with our election is not even the IBC. People don't understand. If you're appointed to be an RO of IBC, your main problem is that the people who are contesting, all of them want to win unfairly. Imagine if you are an RO in a constituency like Banessa, where he talks about, and then everybody in that election wants to win unfairly. You know, they give you a big problem as a returning officer. If those candidates themselves want to win fairly, it makes you just a referee. But everybody is playing in the wrong way. Secondly, the postponement of UDA elections. Why were they postponed? One thing I remember, the last time they had a meeting at Bomas, the president said that we are in office as interim. Sisi wote tutatoka, hata Gachagua huyo amekaa hapa. He is not the right second in command because we are interim.
In terms of the vice chairmanship, not second in command. Second in command means the deputy president.
Yes, I'm talking about the UDA meeting at Bomas.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the presidency and the deputy presidency. Yes. I'm talking about the UDA. He was talking on yellow T-shirt. He was talking as the leader of UDA. And he was saying at UDA that Ata Malala. Yes, he meant even
yes,
that.
yes.
What he meant that all of us should go and contest to win these positions that we claim to hold. That doesn't stop you from being the deputy president. It doesn't stop me from being the president. But at UDA level, it's a party thing. So the thing is that, you see, for you to become a center in command in the party, that is what brings you to become the deputy president. So I'm taking a scenario where, for example, Deputy President Gachagua and President William Ruto loses their elections at UDA. It compromises their position at the national level.
How so?
How so is that it is the same thing when the leader of ODM is Raila Odinga.
Yes.
For example, if Raila Odinga loses the leadership of ODM from an election, it compromises his position as a national leader because you've already lost ODM. That is the reason why ODM itself has never done proper election. UDA has never done proper election because the people at the helm have been appointed. Sifuna, who is Secretary General of ODM, was not elected. Same to Malala, was not elected. Why did we end up with that? It is because they're scared of these elections. I'm not sure. When you invited me to come and discuss grassroots elections, I was a bit skeptical. I'm saying, do they really want to do those elections? Are they capable of doing those elections? These elections have never been done in this country.
Okay. Subject to be approval, because we do know that both parties are currently having a meeting. They'll duly inform us if they'll have it or not. Let me go to Philip. Philip, we're talking about this grassroots election. What Oscar is saying, in the past we have seen them being murkier, being chaotic, but right now we're also facing a constitutional crisis ourselves in terms of the IBC not in place. Philip has just brought a point here that was raised by the lawyers when LSK held the elections and IBC was there to oversee. Currently, there is a case before the court. So IBC as a body, from where you sit, do you think they can conduct those grassroots elections? Because there have been those arguments that if a private entity invites IBC to come and conduct the elections, they're not seeking the services of the commission itself.
Really, Abdi, two issues. One is that as a country, we really need to offer services and justice to all of us holistically without really overlooking some fundamental issues. And constituencies such as Banisia, I think, has been without an MP for the longest in the history of this country. And that is unfair because you can't have a people without a voice on national matters, because Parliament, as we know it, is the unit and the channel through which people from all walks of life speak their issues or represent and voice their concerns from the grassroots. Without an MP, then it's so wanting. And so many other wards without members of county assemblies in their respective counties. So we don't need to sort out IBC for 2027. We need to sort out IBC to offer justice in terms of bringing back elections to those constituencies, to those wards that are not represented today in whatever level of parliament. The second issue is as to whether IBC should be participating in the political parties' elections. It's not their mandate. It's not a requirement. But like Daktari says, there is a huge mistrust in political parties themselves that they cannot trust their secretariat to conduct a free and fair elections. And so sometimes I smile that the same political parties, whichever side of the divide you are from, make noise about IBC at the national elections, but we want IBC to conduct our political party elections. It's speaking from both sides of the map. I would say that the registrar of political parties, in my view, has failed the country on a political front. This is why. When we go for political parties nominations to get candidates fielded for the national elections, there are a lot of petitions that go to the political parties tribunal and the registrar of political parties, and they're effectively addressed. But why is it that both the registrar of political parties and the tribunal cannot force parties to go for elections? It is their mandate because they fund the political parties. Each year, UDA, ODM, Wipers, and all these political parties earn from the political parties fund, okay? Why do we pay or fund political parties that do not adhere to their own constitutions? I am a life member of a political party, ODM. I ran on ODM for the party primaries in Kisumu as a senator. I do not like the fact that in my own political parties, those who represent the youth were brought into office before 2013. A majority of them are outside the youth bracket. So how do we begin including youth in the political parties from a primary level before we come to the national elections? How do you even end up with youth candidates when the representative of the youth in the political party are people with outside the bracket whose interests and ideas on youth inclusion have changed? If today I'm a young person and I'm passionate about youth inclusion, I'm going to turn 35. I'm going to get focused on my 40 years and above. And my interest and my view or perspective at that level would change. It is this time that we are young, that we focus on youth issues, that we are supposed to mainstream those at political parties level, at the national elections level. So what I would say, both UDA and ODM, which are the parties that we are focusing today as a country, should give a good example on what style and forms of elections they would want at the national level by conducting free and fair elections. We have never postponed our elections, at least in this dispensation, in the new constitution, because we don't have an IBC or because we are not ready as a country. Yeah? Why do we postpone political parties elections, which are smaller entities, because we are not confident about the outcome. We are not confident about electing bona fide leaders. The issue on, the last one is on the issue of political parties membership. I am a life member, but I can tell you that in the voting for leaders and in the grassroots elections, you will find non-members of the political parties participating in the elections. Why? We talk about a political party's register that is poorly updated, that do not have the credentials of the voters, and it played a part in the political parties nominations last year. So I would say that political parties, big and small, should put their houses in order and give a perfect example of the kind of elections they would want to see IBC conduct by conducting their own free and fair elections at the requisite time prescribed by their own constitutions and with adherence to the overall rule of law within this country.
Okay, Oscar, I'm coming to you. Let me give Daktari an opportunity to also chime into this particular topic. Daktari, the concerns that have been there over the years, not just from the leaders, but from the members themselves in the party. So let's say, for example, if they're going to conduct this grassroots election this month, because both parties, they had scheduled for the month of April to conduct these grassroots elections, there are fears that they could be postponed. Is the IBC issue more prominent than the grassroots elections that we're going to have? Should it be not just say an excuse, but a viable option of saying that we need to postpone these grassroots elections because we cannot conduct them? We are requiring IBC to conduct them.
I think, like my colleagues have already mentioned, there's no constitutional or legal obligation for IEBC to conduct political parties' grassroots elections. But what is very important is that we all know that all political parties do not trust IEBC in the general election. So I don't think if they should trust them in their political party grassroots elections, simply because the reason as why people want to utilize certain services is because they have trust in it. So that has not come out very clearly. For sure, probably the leading, the political parties that have won this, the process of IEBC through court process, believe in them that, for example, UDA believes that IEBC has a capacity to conduct everything. But I don't think if Azimio will ever trust, among their political parties, will ever trust IEBC to conduct a grassroots level for their political party. That is one. Two, the fact that there was no constitutional mandate, then they are not actually subjected to support in that process. And the fact that it's a vehicle that can be used because of the equipments and the specialities that they have in conducting election affairs, then people will want to use that opportunity to get to their election processes and then do what they want. But again, the point is that IEBC has another role that is that needs to be fast-tracked, a process of addressing issues of by-elections, and this is the things that I think IEBC should concentrate on at this point, and make sure that the government provide the necessary commissioners for them to have their mandate to move on. However, there is a bill in Parliament, we should not forget, the bill that has been submitted by Major Bashir from Mandera North, where he says that in the event that we have crisis on like the current one, where commissioners are not in the offices, the Secretariat should be mandated to conduct by-elections, which is something that is also in the limelight and is in discussion in Parliament, and once they conclude it, that will be another way to move the process of the current crisis of lack of representation from most of the constituencies or wards.
I want to go to you, Oscar, now. As you want to rebuttal what Daktari and what Philippa said, talk about what the latest developments that have been happening within the ODM party itself. We saw the ODM chairman, that is John Badi, last week just clearly stating that it will be highly unlikely that the political outfit will be holding its election due to the inner wrangles that we have been witnessing. Most of these leaders who are jostling to replace Raila Amolo Odinga, who is touted to be the next AUC chair.
One thing, ODM must do their grassroots elections, not because they want, because it is legally binding. According to our constitution, Registered Political Parties Act, all political parties must do their grassroots elections after every 5 years. So ODM has gotten to the level that they have to do it. I think UDA can postpone theirs.
Why not ODM? This is the ODM chairman clearly stating
I'm
that.
saying, according to the law, UDA was formed just a few months to the election.
Yes.
So I don't think if they've reached, I need to check,
Yeah.
I don't think they've reached the 5-year mandate. Legally, every political party registered in this country must do grassroots elections after every 5 years. That one is, and ODM, the April deadline, I think it is by law, not by design.
But you hear the chairman is stating that
yes,
they
that they're not able to do it.
Yeah.
They're thinking of postponing it. But I told you it has never been done. Secondly, and I think we develop what Philip was talking about. I think we've developed very robust documents. For example, the ODM constitution and what ODM thinks it should be. We developed so complicated and sophisticated constitution for our parties, which are mostly copy-pasted from other political parties like the Democratic Party of Sweden or of the States. Then we put them here to be our constitution, which don't address the realistic positions of those political parties. For example, subjecting these parties to elections. I think it's a good thing, yes, but see, again, parties are a conglomeration of comrades. So comrades know who is better suited for something like this, but that comrade might not be able to face proper elections. For example, for Nyang Nyongo to be Secretary General of ODM, I don't think he was elected, but he served there. Now, another thing also, what Dr. was talking about, political parties' trust of the IEBC. I think political parties trust the IEBC, and they believe the IEBC can do the elections. They only might fear the infiltration of probably the state. And again, Kenyans trust the IEBC to conduct their elections. What Kenyans don't trust, that IEBC can declare, can deliver the presidential election. Remember, there are 6 elections. The MCA's elections he trusted. It is done and dusted. MPs done and dusted. Senator done and dusted. Women rep done and dusted. Governorship done and dusted. What the problem the Kenyans have with IBC is the processes at Bomas of Kenya. And I will always tell you.
Oscar, we're talking about grassroots. Leave alone the national.
I was talking about trust of political parties on IBC. Yes, I think it is trusted and they can do those elections. Otherwise, when Mbadi says that ODM finds itself at a very crucial stage, because now they have a leader who is exiting, who has held the party, because sometimes people equate ODM to Raila Odinga, because most of our parties are mostly personalized parties. Like without Uhuru Kenyatta at helm of Jubilee, the party is no longer there. Without Moses Wetangula at Ford Kenya, when he becomes the parliament, the speaker, then the problem at Ford Kenya. So that one is a problem that is taking place at ODM, because they're struggling with succession politics within ODM and have to do a grassroots election at the same time. And again, they're not the ruling party, they're not assisted by the state. So there's too many issues, people pulling out. Because even if without those elections, I think what Raila Odinga is trying to address now, that we have to hold the party together because it might disintegrate, because Moses, no, this guy called Oparanya is going his own way, and Joho, and now again, you know, ODM has a very big following in the Luo Nyanza, and now the Luo Nyanza also, people think they should have somebody at the helm of the party. So those things, at the same time, dealing with a grassroots election at this particular time and succession politics can be too much for ODM to handle at that particular time. Probably that was what Mbadi was talking about. Okay, we are running out of time. Let me start with Philip. A minute to you as we conclude.
Very well, and I think we are heading the right direction, especially with our elections and our political system, but only if the political parties find it right at their grassroots elections. One fundamental thing that I wanted to mention is that every other time we ask, what is the government doing, especially for us, the young people? And without going away with the guilt of Judas in the Easter season, last week, a number of things happened in this country. We had the 71st anniversary of the WRC. Women for the second time competing and finishing under the Talanta Hela initiative. The Ministry of Youth and Sports and Creative Economy launched the first motorsport academy in this country. In that very week, the Kenya Harambee Stars team won the Four Nations tournament in Malawi. That very week, our Talanta Hela initiative, the first pilot of under-19 girls and boys team, won the tournament in Spain. That very week, the Kalash Awards on the 13th anniversary took place on Saturday evening. And that is just under one ministry. And fundamentally, the Deputy President did acknowledge at the launch of the Motorsports Academy at Kasarani that one choice that the President made right at the Cabinet was the appointment of CS Ababu Namwamba as the Minister for Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. And so some good things are happening in the country, and we'd want to encourage the President to make more choices on younger people, on people like Ababu Namwamba, and give them a platform to showcase what young people in this country can do and how we can transform this nation. Thank you.
Daktari, finally, a minute, please.
I think what is very important for us to note is that we must prioritize issues that are of concern, that touch into our constitution, so that we are able to be compliant with our constitution. That's one important thing. Secondly, we know very well IBC has remained without commissioners for as long as we know. From the time of Cherera Force, we need commissioners so that issues that are pending, people who are not represented now and they need their representation, be represented the earliest time possible. Finally, on the political parties, as my friend Oscar has put it, we don't have ideology that backs political parties. These are individual issues, politics or parties that are governed by individuals' ideology. And I think it is time for us to move from individualization of political parties to ideologization of political parties. That way, we are able to conform and adjust ourselves to specific political parties. As we stand now, nobody can confidently say he belongs to a specific political party because of the following ideologies, 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, I think the best thing for the nation is that as we mature democratically, as we enhance most of our political ideologies, let's come up with ideology-based political parties other than individual-led political parties that currently dominates our political arena.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Dr. Isaac Hassan, a governance expert. Next to him is Oscar Omondi, political analyst. And finally, Philip Pande, youth inclusion advisor. And earlier, we had Senator Tabitha Mutinda, the vice chair of the Finance Committee of the Senate. That has been my panel. Gentlemen, thank you for making time for us. Thank you. And of course, hopefully you have enjoyed your Easter holiday. Now you're back. Kazi merudi. And of course, we wish you all the best. And of course, the conversation does not stop here. You can carry out the conversation both on and offline. It is a matter that is progressing and developments we are keenly following upon. We do understand that President William Ruto is currently at the UDA headquarters chairing the National Steering Committee meeting, talks centered on the party elections. A similar event where the ODM Democratic Movement ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga is also expected to chair a similar meeting touching on the uncertainty on the grassroots election slated for this month. We have to see if both of the ruling parties will be agreeing on this particular date with IBC in mind. And that marks the end of our conversation. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim, and of course don't go too far. Kasichana Masha is up next with Kurunzi Mashinani. For now, good morning.